Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. Happy Friday, everybody. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about Takara Masterpiece Plus. And is it over? Is it an end? Are they going to do any more? So I'm going to quickly take a look at what the Plus is and talk about that. I've done it in videos in the past. Talk about why I see it sort of coming to an end and kind of the problems with that. And then we're going to get into my Takara Plus conspiracy theory going forward, and what can we expect out of Takara by looking at the Plus line. We'll talk about this and more coming up. So back in my early days, I had made a video of the comparison of the original to the Plus, and I wasn't sure I was going to be in on Plus line. One of the problems with the Plus line was that they didn't change the mold at all. It was the exact same figure. They just changed the paint and the color of the windows and a few things here and there, but it's the exact same figure over and over again with a $20 higher price point. So the originals were like $63. These came out at $80 or more depending on where you bought them. So with that, I wasn't going to get them, but then I kind of liked them, kind of wanted them, and I wanted to do a comparison video. So I went ahead and got them. I'm glad I did. A lot of people lately have been asking me about Plus line. Is there going to be more coming? Or do I even know where I can get this? Where can you get a Plus figure? I looked a quick look on eBay. It's kind of hard to find any of them on eBay at all. And it's also hard to find them on any distributors. So it's one of those things that I haven't seen a reissue of this. And in a little bit, we'll talk about KO. Because I thought I was buying KOs. I got them for a really good price. But mine are all original, oddly enough. So anyway, looking at this Prowl, I think he looks fantastic. So one of the things they did is they give those blue windows, and the side windows and some of the rear windows and stuff are just painted with that blue on it. But the figure itself is exactly the same, and we're going to do a quick side-by-side comparison. This blue window sort of set the tone for all of the figures going forward, and all of their releases. We're going to have this kind of a blue tint to the window. So this was part of their going to tune, or going to tune. To tune or to tune. But the thing about this is the fact that Bumblebee didn't get the blue window. So see, when I didn't even notice that, because his windows are really, really small, but when people pointed that out to me, it really confused me. Like, why do they not have blue windows with Bumblebee? But they still do it on pretty much every other subsequent release, and we see it with X-Transbots, and I believe some of the Fans Toys stuff, but X-Transbots really digs deep into that blue window. So here's a picture of them side by side. It's probably one of the best pictures of side by side of Prowl, and I think that it looks good to me. The blue just really does enhance this a little bit more for me, but for the rest of it, it's not really that big of a difference. The blue windshield is the biggest difference, and then they took some of the paint apps are slightly different. The Autobot logo is bigger on the chest and those kinds of things, but at the end of the day, both are great options, both are great versions, and this sort of did feel like a cash grab for an extra $20 on top of the original 60. So you notice that there's different color variation for sort of like those front lights there. Like, I don't know, you just keep nitpicking them back and forth. I did that in that one video. I'm not going to do that here, but I just kind of want to show the difference. Next up we have Wheeljack, and I have to say that Wheeljack does look very different, probably the most different. And so this is where a lot of collectors are towards. Some like the original version, some like this version more. I do like this version more because when the original one came out, I kept thinking, what could we do to be more like the cartoon and more tune accurate? How could they make this better? This is so great. How could they make it better? And it's not perfect. It's got some kind of opening in the back and all that kind of stuff, but it's still great figure overall. And I even had mine with like an upgrade that was out there around there where you can have the blue on the ear pieces there and that kind of stuff going on. So I did that upgrade. I had the upgrade. I never put it on the original one. I just waited and put it on this one. His alt mode is really, really clean. And then this, again, is where people that like the original say, no, that's where they want to see the extra paint apps and all that kind of stuff. And so with that, though, I do like the clean look to this. And I really don't know 100% if this matches the cartoon a lot better than the first one did. But the first one did sort of match the toy. We're going to come back to that. So here's the side-by-side, and I have to say, out of all of the pluses in the Carbot area, this is the biggest difference, and it just brightens the whole character up, makes him look a little bit different, but it's almost like I almost want to have the original's head on the Plus, because I like the head for the original a little bit better. I kind of like the missile launcher a little bit better. So if you have both, you can mix and match them. I kind of think I did do that with mine, but it's been 4 years, I don't remember. But still looking at this, Which camp are you in, left or right? Let me know. So next we get into Sideswipe, and I think this was a real big push to continue with this plus line back then with the MP39. And so it was super tuned. It had the blue windows and all that kind of stuff. So let's carry this forward with all the rest of these car bots. And this is how they look side by side. As you can tell, engineering-wise, the MP39 is far more advanced, vastly more advanced than the overly simplified MP12 next to it. I mean, you look at these two and you can say the one on the left has a lot more engineering, the one on the right is more simplified. So I do like the simplified in a way because less steps and all. It's not quite as much of a headache, but also less chance for breakage in a way. The alt mode is pretty clean right here, and I like the look of it. I'm starting to think that they did actually put a coat of paint over all of it. This is when they started overlaying paint on all of it to say that's why it's worth 20 bucks more. But maybe that's what they did. But look at that giant symbol right there. We're about to see the comparison of this side by side. And just note that there is a giant symbol there. So the big one on the left with the big giant Autobot symbol is the plus key, the plus version. And the one on the right is the original version. So out of all of them, this one is the least changed. Like if you look at it head to toe, literally down at the toes are different. And then the ankles are different. It's painted black instead of red. And then you go up to the big symbol. But for the most part, like, there's really not much of a reason to upgrade if you consider the plus an upgrade. And yes, I got it. But I think I paid 40 for mine. I paid 60 for one of mine, and I think 50 for another, and then 40 for another. So that's when I thought I was getting KOs too. And it turns out like there's a local shop that had these pluses in stock, and I matched up the boxes and stuff, and my box matched 100% exactly to theirs. So I believe that all mine ended up being official. I just got them used, but I was like, man, how did I get such a good deal on them? Now the plus line's not a huge line, but there was the lavender wave of Shockwave, and then we got the upgraded version, which is, in my opinion, the biggest upgrade for any of the pluses is this guy. This plus version of Shockwave looks fantastic. I wish they would have KO'd this. Now, I don't think that they KO'd this, and I'm starting to think that they didn't really KO the other ones. If any showed up as KO, they were like factory errors or something. So at the time, I really didn't understand that was what was going on, with a few people saying they got KOs. I've never seen a KO of the plus version. Not even a factory reject or a factory error. And I got to tell you, I would have snatched that up in a second, in a heartbeat. I would have pre-ordered that thing if it popped up or whatever, or if it just showed up. So maybe there was a small run and I missed it. I don't know. But it seems like something Takara keeps under wraps, keeps her thumb on. And so that's another thing. So how come these aren't KO'd like crazy? Because we got KOs of the Lavender Wave. We never got a KO of this. Therein lies sort of my conspiracy theory about Takara really does have some control over the KO market. And alt mode looks the same. Same alt mode. It's just, I do like that darker color. I would, in a heartbeat, swap out to that dark color. But I wasn't going to spend 200 bucks. Especially after I just got my original one. I was happy with it. And then here this thing is for $200. I'm thinking, why? Just because of the color. You could have revealed this color earlier. And then the originals went on clearance for like 100 bucks. The original actual Takaras at TF Source and a couple other places went on clearance for 100 bucks. Now we're getting into something that you might want to call this a minus, right? It's the plus. They called it the plus, but it's more of a minus, not a negative minus. It's just saying they're not going hyper-tuned, they're going toy. And so they took the already hyper-tuned version of Megatron and made it look like the toy. It's got all the hairy chest, the scribbles on the chest. It's got the vac metallized chrome for the chest and shoulders, and a couple of other places, I guess. I never picked this up. Now, this was like $250, or maybe even more. And I know that was a lot of money, but I never saw this exact one get KO'd. There was no exact copy of this for a KO. So for that, I was a little bit surprised that this never actually got KO'd. And again, shows a little bit of Takara's channel power with the KO companies. I do think that everything about the vac metallized was utilized very well in the alt mode. So they vac metallized all the parts that you would see predominantly on the alt mode in the Walter P38. And so with that, it does look fantastic if you want to display this in the alt mode. If you want to go through the 153 steps, or I don't know how many steps it was, to transform this guy, put him in alt mode, and hopefully not scratch anything up. So it's almost a guarantee, though, if you put that silencer or whatever that long barrel on there, you are going to more than likely scratch up the barrel. So now it's time for Mike's conspiracy theory. Friday conspiracy theory. So, MP10 never got a plus. And you got to wonder, why did MP10 not get a plus? Why did they not make a plus version of him? When all of the other figures that already were in the tune didn't need to get a plus. The ones that weren't tune were brought into tune with plus. So why didn't he get a plus? Well, he got an MP44. They made a whole different figure. A whole different one. So there was no need to do a repaint of him and put him out as plus. Would have been a fun little cash grab at the end. But they never had to do that because MP44. Okay, I think you all are probably following what I'm saying here. And I'm just going to say it anyway, though. MP11 never got a plus version. They didn't do a plusky version. You could argue, oh, they already were going for tune on this guy. But he didn't get any sort of repaint, any sort of plus up. Okay, maybe they already thought it was tune enough. But again, they had a more tune version in a different mold coming down the road with the new Seeker set. So, this one didn't get it. So, with the same mentality going on with all of these other characters, why didn't Soundwave get a plus version? Why did not make him a hyper tune version? Why did they let a more tune version come out with Fans Toys Robot Paradise version, and they didn't put theirs out? So it sort of makes me think they still have some sort of work on a 2.0. I'm not saying I want them to do a 2.0. I don't want them to do 2.0. But I just have that whole feeling when you think about Plus, this has been kind of in the back of my mind for a long time. Where are they going with this Plus thing? What's going on with it? Of course, they could always do that with him and do some sort of a 2.0 down the road. Who knows? So the last question is, would Takara ever go back and remake some of their more modern tune designs in a plus or a negative plus and make them look more like the toy? Now, I personally would want that, and I kind of think that they might have realized that's not something that people want, but is it something that they would do? And I'm also starting to realize that some of these plans they may have had in the past might have gotten canceled. Maybe the Soundwave got canceled. But the bigger question is, why have they not done another reissue of these Plus figures? Which is really kind of strange, because I was looking through several sites, shows, ETF Source, eBay, and it's really hard to find any Plus figures nowadays. Is the reason that the ones that we think should get reissued as Plus, they might have a 2.0 coming? Or is it just the fact that they're doing something even better and giving us new characters like we've always been asking? And yeah, it's really easy for myself to get really excited about Takara doing new characters, but there are new collectors that really would like to get their hands on this Plus. I hear it in the comment section. A lot of people say they want the Plus figures, and of course they also want the new characters, but should they reissue Plus figures? Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and Titanium Hanger out.